Hi, my name is Yamaoka. I'm a research fellow in University of Oklahoma. My topic today is about positive parenting in the face of adversity. Does it really matter? So I'd like to talk about how ACEs and positive parenting are related with the young children, especially age 0 to 5, using the nationwide data set. So the ACEs is one of the greatest unaddressed public health threats of our nation today, and maybe everyone may know that its negative effect of physical and psychological health in adulthood and or sometimes adolescent. But what about for young children? Does it really start from young age, especially 0 to 5 years old? So that is my research question of the study. So when we consider about risk factors of ACEs, so what can be predict factors for them? So one may be the positive parenting practices. High quality serve and return parenting skill is important for young children development, but it does not always develop spontaneously, especially among families living with adversities. So when we consider the risk factors and protective factors, I want to consider both at the same time. So this research aims to examine first relationship between the ACEs and young children health outcomes, and second, and examine the relationship both of ACEs and parenting practices at the same time. So the method utilized the National Survey of Children's Health 2011-12 data. This is cross-section survey conducted by telephone, and we targeted children aged 0 to 5 years old. The sample size was nearly 30,000 in this data set. And the outcome, we targeted two outcomes. One is social emotional well-being, and second is general developmental risks. And both outcomes were dichotomized into low or high social emotional well-being, or having or not having developmental risks. Both items are answered by parents. And in this data set, there are 9 ACE items. 5 are taken from original ACE study, and 4 are additional items in this data set. The one is low income, community violence, death of parent, and racial discriminations. And in terms of positive parenting, we counted 6 parenting practices: reading books, telling story, playing with peers, going out, and family meal together, and less TV watching. So if the parents do these parenting practices 4 days or more of the week, we count as 1 and up to 6 as a positive parenting practices. So after this slide, I will show you the proportion of ACEs and also proportion of parenting practices. And then we conducted multiple logistic regressions for the number of ACEs and for the number of parenting practices on child outcomes. And both analyses were adjusted for complex survey design. So this is the proportion of ACEs among age 0 to 5 years old in nationwide. The most frequent ACEs is low income, 1/4 of children experiencing low income. And other ACE items, this proportion goes double or triple in next 2 years. And this is a proportion of parenting practices. And as you can see, that the most frequent parenting practices was eating family meal together or less watching TV. And for younger age children, commonly storytelling and singing. And for older children is playing with peers. So this is one of the main results from logistic regressions. So this is the effect of number of ACEs on these 2 outcomes. So having 1 more ACEs, the likelihood to become these 2 outcomes goes up gradually. And this is the effect of number of parenting practices on the other side. So if parents do 1 more parenting practices, the risk goes down gradually and significantly. So ACEs and parenting practices have individual negative and positive effect on young children's outcome. But when we consider the both positive and negative effect, we can consider 4 scenarios. One is parents having high ACEs and doing low parenting practices. That is, we need intervention for these parents. And parents having low ACEs and doing high parenting practices, that is good environment, so no worries. But what about parents having high ACEs, but also they can provide enough parenting practices, or parents having low ACEs, but they do not provide enough parenting practices. So how good and bad are these situations for these children? So we decided to compare these two scenarios. This is a plot of predicted probability for becoming a low social emotional well-being risk. So this dot shows the number of ACEs. So if ACE goes up, the risk goes up. And this horizontal line is the number of parenting practices. So if you do one more parenting practices, the risk goes down like this. So when we compare the family having high ACEs and doing high parenting practices, the risk to become low social emotional well-being was 22%. But parents having no ACEs but do not provide enough parenting, the risk was 30%, so higher than high ACEs and high parenting group. And this is the predicted probability for developmental risk. Again, parents having high ACEs and high parenting practices, risk was 43%, but parents having low ACEs and doing low parenting practices was 44%. So this shows almost similar. So what we found was ACEs and positive parenting practices had individual negative and positive effect on young children outcomes. But also not performing positive parenting practices had a similar risk as another ACEs. So as a conclusion, a negative effect of ACE already started from the younger age, and positive parenting practices important. They have protective effect, and if they do not provide enough positive parenting, that there is a risk as similar as another ACEs. So promoting positive parenting practices are important for all families with adversities and also without adversities. So thank you very much.